My parents invited me to a grand family dinner with all our relatives. Then my dad stood up and told everyone, "We've decided to remove you from the inheritance. You never earned it." Everyone laughed and nodded. I smiled, took a sip, and silently walked out. 2 days later, total family disaster. Can you believe what my own father said to me? His words cut through the fancy restaurant like a knife, leaving me absolutely frozen, clutching my fork halfway to my mouth. Right there, in front of our entire extended family, he declared, "We've decided to cut you out of the inheritance. You've never deserved it." My world just stopped. The elegant dining room, the hushed classical music, the smug looks on my family's faces, it all blurred as his voice, thick with wine and something even uglier, triumph, rang out again. "Did you hear me, Tara? You're out. Completely out." My mother, dabbing her mouth with a linen napkin, barely hid her smile. My brother Kevin leaned back, a sneer on his face that twisted my stomach. And Paige, she couldn't even look at me, but I saw her shoulders shaking with suppressed laughter. Then, the chorus began. My Aunt Carol, dripping with fake sympathy, chimed in. "That's what happens when you turn your back on family." Uncle Gerald raised his glass, clinking it triumphantly, absolutely to family loyalty. The table erupted. Laughter, clinking glasses, my cousin Bethany actually clapping. My hands, surprisingly steady, set down my fork. Inside, though, a cold, hard rage was building. 29 years of memories flashed through my mind. Kevin's bigger presents, Paige's better gifts, my accomplishments always brushed aside while theirs were celebrated. But this was different. This was pure, public humiliation. Just 3 days earlier, my father had called, his voice warm and inviting for the first time in months. "We're having a family dinner on Saturday. Very important. Everyone will be there. We'd really like you to come, Tara. It's been too long." Some stupid, hopeful part of me wanted to believe, just maybe, they wanted to make things right. Instead, they wanted an audience for my destruction. I looked around that table, taking in every face. My grandmother, who used to sneak me cookies, wouldn't meet my eyes. My cousin Jeffrey, who I tutored through college, stared at his plate. Even Uncle Thomas, who always called me his favorite, raised his glass with the rest of them. "Nothing to say, Tara," my mother asked, saccharine sweet. "No tears, no begging." I picked up my wine glass, an expensive Bordeaux my father had insisted on, took a slow sip, letting the silence stretch, then I smiled. "Congratulations," I said softly, setting the glass down. "I hope it was worth it." I stood up, smoothed my dress, and picked up my purse. The table went quiet again, but this time, it was a confused silence. They'd expected a scene, tears, shouting. Something to savor. "Wait, that's it," Kevin called out as I turned toward the door. "You're just leaving?" I paused, looking back. My father's triumphant face had gone uncertain. My mother's smile faltered. "What else would you like me to do?" I asked, my voice pleasant, almost curious. "You've made your decision. I accept it." Before Paige could stammer anything else, I was walking away. As I stepped out of the private dining room, I heard the confused murmuring start behind me. They didn't understand. They'd spent weeks planning this, imagining my breakdown, reveling in my pain. My calm departure had stolen their satisfaction. Let them wonder. In the cool Birmingham evening, my phone buzzed. A text from Kevin. "Don't think you can change Dad's mind later. This is final. Deleted. Paige, you always were dramatic. Deleted." My modest sedan, bought and paid for with my own money from my own job, pulled up. Everything I had earned, and that had always been the problem. As I drove away, I caught one last glimpse of the restaurant in my rearview mirror. Somewhere inside, my family was probably celebrating, already spending the money they thought they'd secured. They had no idea what was coming. 2 days. That was all it would take. The anger that had simmered during dinner now burned with cold clarity. They wanted to humiliate me, to break me. They thought I was weak, that I'd crumble. They had forgotten who taught me to be ruthless. At my apartment, my cat Winston greeted me. After feeding him and pouring myself a Real glass of wine, not my father's overpriced show-off bottle, I sat down at my kitchen table with my laptop. The truth was, I'd been expecting something like this for months. My parents had been dropping hints. Kevin was insufferable, and Paige was treating me like a stranger. But I had hoped they'd see me as more than a disappointment. That hope died tonight. I opened a folder I'd created 3 months ago. Insurance. I'd called it, though it was more like evidence. A detailed record of every financial transaction my parents had made in the last 5 years. See, my father thought I was just a mediocre financial analyst. He loved to compare me to Kevin, who worked in tech, mostly played video games, as far as I could tell, and praised Paige's entrepreneurial spirit. Her boutique was hemorrhaging money. What he didn't know was that I wasn't just any analyst. I was a forensic accountant specializing in fraud detection, and I was very, very good at my job. 3 months ago, my mother had asked for help with a minor tax question, handing me a folder of documents. She didn't expect me to recognize the patterns immediately, the shell companies, offshore accounts, the creative bookkeeping that sometimes crossed the line. I'd spent 2 months quietly gathering information, not because I planned to use it, but because I believed in being prepared. My father had built his empire on hard work, strategic investments, and as it turned out, questionable practices. Now, I looked at spreadsheets that told a story my family didn't want anyone to know. My father had been siphoning money from business partners. My mother had used nonprofits as personal piggy banks. Together, they built a house of cards that would collapse the moment anyone looked too closely. And I was going to make sure someone looked very closely indeed. My phone rang. Grandma. She'd been at that dinner. Said nothing. But she was calling now. Hello, Grandma. Tara, honey. Her voice was thin. I wanted to apologize for tonight. That was cruel of your father. I should have spoken up. But you didn't. No, I didn't. I'm sorry. Part of me wanted to forgive her, to believe she was different. But tonight had taught me wanting something and getting it were very different things. Why did they do it? I asked. Why now? What did I do that was so terrible? She sighed. It wasn't about what you did, sweetheart. It was about what you didn't do. You didn't need them. You didn't come begging for money, or help, or approval. You built your own life, and that scared them. Your father likes to be needed. He likes to be important. You made him feel irrelevant, so he cut you out of the inheritance. She paused. The inheritance that was never really yours to lose, she said softly. Tara, there's something you should know. Your father has been having financial troubles for the past year. Big troubles. Most of the inheritance you think exists is already gone. Tonight was theater. He wanted to hurt you before you found out there was nothing left. My hand tightened on the phone. Are you sure? I'm old, not stupid. I know what I see. After we hung up, I sat in the dark kitchen. My father was broke. The great inheritance, dangled over our heads our entire lives, was a fiction. And he had gathered the whole family to humiliate me before the truth came out. I smiled in the darkness. This was going to be even better than I thought. Sunday morning, I composed a message to Timothy, an investigative journalist I'd worked with. Hey, Timothy, remember when you said you owed me a favor? I might have a story for you. His response was immediate. Always. What are we talking about? Local real estate developer, possible fraud, embezzlement, tax evasion, multiple victims. We arranged to meet Tuesday. I spent the rest of Sunday digging deeper. The more I looked, the worse it got. My father had borrowed money, never paid it back, taken loans with properties he didn't own, created fake companies. Every transaction left a paper trail, and every trail led back to him. My mother was complicit, signing documents, opening accounts, moving money. They'd built this empire of deception together. And they would fall together. Monday I went to work. My boss, Patricia, noticed my focus. Big case, she asked. Personal project, I said. But yes, big. She studied me. Does this personal project involve the family dinner you mentioned Friday? It might, I admitted. If you need anything, resources, time, advice, you let me know. Family can be complicated. Family can be toxic, I corrected. But thank you, I will. By 5 p.m., I had everything compiled for Timothy. That evening, Kevin called. I let it go to voicemail. He called twice more. What do you want, Kevin? I finally answered. Dad wants to talk to you. He's willing to reconsider if you apologize. I actually laughed. Apologize for what? For embarrassing the family on Saturday? For leaving like that? You made a scene, he insisted. You embarrassed Dad in front of everyone. He spent a lot of money on that dinner. He spent a lot of money to humiliate me, I corrected. Tell Dad I said no thanks on the reconsideration. You're making a mistake, Kevin warned. You don't want to be on the wrong side of this family. I'm pretty sure I'm on the only right side, I said and hung up. The texts flooded in. Paige, Mother, Uncle Gerald, Aunt Carol. All pushing, accusing. Aunt Carol's last message. Pride comes before a fall, Tara. I stared at it. She had no idea how right she was, just wrong about who would be falling. Tuesday morning, I met Timothy. I laid out everything. His eyes grew wide. Holy hell, he breathed. This is massive. This could take down more than just your father. It could expose an entire network of corruption. He looked at me carefully. These are your parents, Tara. Are you sure you want to do this? I thought about Saturday night. The laughter, the mocking. I'm sure, I said. Give me 3 days, he said. I need to verify some of this. Talk to sources, build the story. Can you wait? I've waited 29 years, I smiled. 3 more days won't kill me. Wednesday started with nervous energy. Timothy had my information. The investigation was underway. All I had to do was act normal. It was harder than I thought. My desk phone rang around 10 a.m. Patricia's serious voice. Tara, could you come to my office? We need to talk. My stomach dropped. Close the door and sit down, she said. I had an interesting conversation this morning with a potential client. He called asking about you specifically. My blood ran cold. Who was it? He didn't give his real name, but the number traced back to your father's business. He's checking up on me. He asked about your qualifications, your specialty, your recent cases. I told him you were one of our best forensic accountants, and that if he wanted to hire you, he'd need to go through proper channels. What did he say? He hung up. Patricia leaned back. Tara, whatever you're planning, be careful. If your father is sniffing around, he might suspect something. He doesn't suspect anything, I said, more confidently than I felt. He thinks I'm weak and insignificant. Maybe, Patricia said, unconvinced. But paranoid men do dangerous things. Watch your back. Back at my desk, my confidence was shaken. My phone buzzed. Kevin, Dad wants to have lunch with you. Just you two. He says it's important. This was a trap. I texted back. Busy all week. Maybe next month. His immediate reply, he says it can't wait. Tomorrow at noon, the Summit Club. He'll be waiting. The text from my mother and Paige followed, pushing, trying to force me. I called Timothy. Hey, he answered. I was just about to call you. We have a problem. My heart sank. Someone contacted my editor this morning. Anonymous tip that I was working on a story based on falsified documents provided by a disgruntled family member. My editor wants to see all my sources before we run anything. They know, I whispered. We don't know that for sure, Timothy said. Could be coincidence. My father called my office this morning pretending to be a client. Now he wants to meet me for lunch tomorrow, and you get an anonymous tip warning you off? That's not coincidence. Timothy was quiet. Okay, so what do you want to do? We can still run the story, but it'll take longer if my editor is being cautious. How much longer? Maybe a week to 10 days. I don't have 10 days, I said. They're circling. Whatever they're planning it now. Then we need to be smarter, Timothy said. Go to the lunch. See what he wants. Maybe he'll give us something we can use. Or maybe he'll try to intimidate me into backing off. I thought about Saturday night. Can he? I asked. No, I said. He can't. That evening, I did something rare. I called my grandmother. Tara, sweetheart, I was hoping you'd call. Grandma, has Dad said anything about me lately? Anything unusual? She hesitated. He's been asking questions about your job, your finances, whether you have any connections in the media. Why? He suspects something. Suspects what? I couldn't tell her the truth. Not yet. Just that I'm not as broken as he hoped I'd be. Tara, what are you doing? What I should have done years ago, I said. Standing up for myself. Be careful, she warned. Your father doesn't like being challenged. He gets mean when he feels cornered. I know, I said. I learned from the best. After we hung up, I sat thinking. He was suspicious, but he didn't know exactly what I was planning. The smart thing would be to wait, but patience had never been my strong suit. I texted Kevin back. Fine. Noon tomorrow at the Summit Club. Tell Dad I'll be there. His response was triumphant. Good choice. He'll be pleased. I doubted that very much. I barely slept that night, running through scenarios. What would he say? What would he offer? Bribes. Threats. Around 2 a.m., I got up, made tea, and reviewed everything one more time. The evidence was solid, the paper trail clear. Even if he suspected something, he couldn't erase what he'd already done. Tomorrow, I would sit across from my father, let him think he was winning. And then, I would watch his world burn. Thursday morning, I dressed carefully, professional but not intimidating. I wanted him to see the daughter he thought he knew, not the woman about to destroy him. The Summit Club, his domain. I arrived exactly at noon. He stood as I approached, smiling like Saturday night never happened. Tara, sweetheart, thank you for coming. I sat down, no hug. What do you want, Dad? His smile faltered. Can a father want to have lunch with his daughter? Not this father. Not this daughter. Not anymore. He sighed. I suppose I deserve that. Saturday night was harsh. Your mother and I have been talking, and we think we were too hasty. Too hasty in cutting me out of the inheritance, or too hasty in humiliating me in front of the entire family? Both, he admitted. We let emotion get the better of us. A waiter appeared. My father ordered a scotch. I ordered nothing. You're not eating, he asked. I'm not staying long. Say what you need to say. He studied me, confusion flickering in his eyes. This wasn't going his way. Tara, I want to make things right. The inheritance situation was a mistake. We're willing to reconsider. Willing to reconsider, I repeated. How generous. Don't be sarcastic. I'm trying to fix this. Why now? What changed between Saturday and today? He shifted. Your mother feels guilty. She thinks we were too harsh. Mom doesn't feel guilty about anything she does, I said. Try again. He took a long sip of scotch. Fine. You want the truth. We're concerned about you. After Saturday, we expected you to call, to fight back, to do something. Instead, you just disappeared. That's not like you. You don't know what's like me. You never bothered to find out. That's not fair. Saturday night wasn't fair, I countered. Spending 29 years watching you worship Kevin and Paige while treating me like an inconvenience wasn't fair. So, forgive me if I don't care about your definition of fairness. His jaw tightened. The temper I remembered. Watch your tone. I'm still your father. Biologically, yes. In every way that matters. Debatable. He slammed his glass down. I don't know what's gotten into you, but this attitude needs to stop. I'm offering you a chance to come back into the family, to restore your inheritance. Don't throw that away because of pride. It's not about pride, I said calmly. It's about self-respect. Something I should have developed years ago. Tara, why did you call my office yesterday? The question caught him off guard. What? You called Brightfin Wealth Management yesterday morning, pretended to be a potential client, asked questions about me. Why? He recovered quickly. I wanted to understand what you do. Your mother, and I realized we don't know much about your career. Liar. The word hung between us like a grenade. Excuse me. His voice went dangerously quiet. You're lying. You didn't call because you care about my career. You called because you're worried about something. What is it, Dad? What are you afraid I know? His face went carefully blank. I don't know what you're talking about. Yes, you do. We stared at each other. This was the moment. I could back down, pretend, or I could push. How's business, Dad? I heard you've been having some financial difficulties. Cash flow problems, partner disputes, that kind of thing. His eyes narrowed. Who told you that? Nobody told me. I figured it out. There's nothing to figure out. My business is solid. Is it? Because from what I've seen, your business is built on fraud, embezzlement, and tax evasion. But hey, what do I know? I'm just the disappointing daughter with a boring job. The color drained from his face. What did you just say? You heard me, Dad. I don't know what kind of game you think you're playing, but if you spread rumors like that, I'll sue you for defamation so fast your head will spin. It's not defamation if it's true. And it's not rumors if I have bank statements, tax returns, and email chains proving everything. For the first time, I saw genuine fear in his eyes. You're bluffing. Am I? Want to take that chance? He grabbed a scotch and downed it. What do you want? Money. Fine. I'll write you a check right now. Name your price. I don't want your money. Then what? I want you to face consequences for what you've done to me, to your partners, to everyone you've ever used and thrown away. You ungrateful little! He caught himself, glancing around. When he spoke again, his voice was controlled, but the rage was there. I gave you everything. A roof over your head, food and education. This is how you repay me. You gave me the bare minimum while giving Kevin and Paige the world. And now you want gratitude. If you do this, if you try to destroy me, you'll regret it. I promise you that. Is that a threat? It's a warning. You think you're clever, but you have no idea what you're up against. I have lawyers, connections, friends in very high places. You're a junior analyst. You can't win this fight. I stood up, slinging my purse over my shoulder. We'll see about that. Tara, sit down. We're not finished. Yes, I said, we are. I walked away, my heart pounding. Behind me, I heard him calling my name, then swearing. Good. Let him be scared. I made it to my car before my hands started shaking. That had been more intense than I expected. My father was scared, which meant he would fight back. This was about to get ugly. My phone rang. Timothy, tell me you have good news. Mixed news. My editor approved the story, but he wants to hold it until we have comments from all parties. We need to contact your father for his side of the story before we publish. When? Tomorrow morning. I'll email him a list of questions and give him 48 hours. He's not going to respond. He's going to lawyer up and try to kill the story. Probably, but ethically, I have to give him the chance. Okay, do it. And Timothy, be ready. When this breaks, it's going to get messy. I know. Are you ready? I thought about lunch. Yeah, I said. I'm ready. That afternoon, everything changed. Patricia pulled me into the conference room. 3 other senior partners waited. Sit down, Tara. We received a call this afternoon from a law firm representing someone named Howard Anderson. They're threatening to sue our firm for defamation, harassment, and corporate espionage. They claim you've been stealing confidential information and spreading false allegations. My father had made his first move. The room felt small. Who was Howard Anderson? Gerald, a founding partner, asked. My father, I said quietly. Your father is threatening to sue us because of something you did? Gerald's voice rose. Would you care to explain? I took a deep breath. This was it. 3 months ago, my mother asked me for help with a tax question. She gave me documents from my father's business. When I reviewed them, I noticed patterns consistent with financial fraud. I documented what I found. And then what? Patricia asked. I gave the information to an investigative journalist. Tomorrow, he's going to contact my father for comment before publishing a story. Gerald looked like he might have a stroke. You used company resources to investigate your own father? No, I used my personal time and my own computer. The only company resource I used was my professional expertise, which I'm entitled to apply to any situation. That's a technicality, Susan interjected. You're employed by this firm. Any work you do reflects on us. The work I did uncovered legitimate fraud that victimizes multiple people and organizations. Isn't that exactly what we do here? Not when it involves our employees' family members. Gerald slammed his hand on the table. Do you have any idea what kind of liability you've exposed us to? Patricia held up a hand. Let's calm down. Tara, did you steal any documents? No. Did you misrepresent yourself or the firm? No. Did you use company time, equipment, or resources? No. Patricia looked at Gerald. Then technically, she hasn't violated any policies. That doesn't matter. Gerald stood. Her father's lawyers are going to drag us through court regardless. This is a disaster. My phone buzzed. Kevin, Dad's lawyer is going after your job. Hope you're happy. Paige, you're destroying the family. I hope it was worth it. Mother, how could you do this to us after everything we've given you? I turned my phone face down. There's something you all should know, I said. My father doesn't have a case. He's bluffing. This is intimidation, pure and simple. He's hoping that by threatening the firm, you'll force me to back down. And will you? Susan asked. Back down? I met her eyes. No, then you're suspended, Gerald announced. Effective immediately. Until this situation is resolved. I looked at Patricia. She gave me the slightest shake of her head. Don't fight this right now. I stood up. Fine. I'll be at home if you need me. I walked out with my head high, but inside I was shaking. My father had moved faster than I expected, but he had made a mistake. By showing his hand this early, by threatening my firm, he had proven that he was scared. And scared people make mistakes. I drove home in a daze. This was escalating faster than I'd planned. My phone rang again. Timothy. I heard about your firm, he said. I'm sorry. Your father's lawyer called my editor, too. Threatened us with a lawsuit. Are you backing off? Hell no. But my editor wants to move up the timeline. We're publishing tomorrow morning instead of next week. Tomorrow! The article would be published tomorrow. Okay, I said. Do it. Tara, are you sure? Once this is out there, there's no taking it back. I thought about Saturday night. Today's lunch. I'm sure, I said. All right. The article goes live at 6 a.m. I'll send you a link. After we hung up, I sat in my car. Tomorrow morning, my father's world would start to crumble. By noon, everyone in Birmingham would know. By evening, his business partners would be calling their lawyers. And I would be the one who made it happen. My phone buzzed again. Kevin, whatever you think you know, you're wrong. Dad's a good man. I stared at that message for a long time. They all believed it. They had no idea who he really was. I went inside, fed Winston, poured wine. My stomach was in knots. 20 hours until the article. 20 hours until everything changed. Around 8 p.m., my grandmother called. Tara, what's happening? Your father called me tonight. He says you've been spreading lies about him. They're not lies, Grandma. I told her everything. The fraud, the embezzlement, the article coming out. She was quiet for a long time. Tara, sweetheart, you need to understand something. Your father comes from a family that values loyalty above everything. What you're doing, exposing him publicly, that's the worst kind of betrayal in his eyes. He betrayed me first. He's been betraying people for years. I know, and he deserves consequences, but you need to be prepared for what comes next. Your father won't go down quietly. He'll fight back with everything he has. I know, and the rest of the family will take his side. I know that, too. Then you also know that after tomorrow, you'll be completely alone. No family, no support. Are you prepared for that? I looked around my small apartment. Winston purring on the couch. My laptop, full of evidence. Yes, I said. I'm prepared. Because the truth was, I had been alone for a long time. Saturday night just made it official. Then I'll pray for you, Grandma said softly. And Tara, for what it's worth, I'm proud of you. What you're doing takes courage. Thank you, Grandma. I sat in the darkness, waiting for morning, waiting for everything to fall apart. I didn't sleep. At 6 a.m., Timothy's article went live. The headline, Local real estate developer Howard Anderson accused of fraud, embezzlement, and tax evasion. It was perfect. Damning. Undeniable. My phone immediately started ringing. I turned it off. This was it. The point of no return. By 7 a.m., I had 43 missed calls, over 100 texts. Kevin, Paige, my mother, various relatives, all spitting accusations. Only one message stood out, from my grandmother. The truth always comes out eventually. Stay strong. I made myself breakfast, barely tasting it, and opened my laptop. The Tribune's website had exploded. The story was everywhere. Local news channels were reporting. My father's headquarters swarmed with reporters. My doorbell rang. Kevin and Paige. I didn't open the door. Tara, open up. We know you're in there. Kevin pounded. Go away. Not until you explain yourself. Paige yelled. How could you do this to Dad? To all of us. Everything in that article is true. You know it is. It doesn't matter if it's true. Kevin shouted. You don't air your family's dirty laundry in public. You don't destroy your own father. He destroyed himself. I just documented it. More pounding. Oh, what? I called through the door. You'll cut me out of the inheritance. Too late. You'll humiliate me? Already done. Face it, Kevin. You have no power over me anymore. The pounding stopped. I heard furious whispers. Then Paige, dripping false sweetness. Tara, please, let's talk. Dad wants to work this out. He's willing to forgive you if you'll just publicly retract everything. I almost laughed. Tell Dad that's not happening. You're making a huge mistake, Kevin warned. Dad's lawyer is already preparing a defamation suit. You're going to lose everything. This isn't revenge. It's justice. They left eventually, but not before Kevin kicked my door hard enough to leave a scuff mark. My phone rang. Patricia. Hello, Tara. Have you seen the article? Yes, it's causing quite a stir. I've had 3 calls this morning from reporters. I told them you acted independently, and we can't comment. But Tara, this changes things. The evidence you gathered, it's legitimate. Gerald and the other partners are reviewing everything, and it looks like your father's threats were empty. Does that mean I'm not suspended anymore? Patricia paused. The partners are meeting this afternoon. I'll call you after, but between you and me, I think they're going to reinstate you. What you uncovered is massive. This is exactly the kind of case we built our reputation on. A small moment of relief. My job was safe, but the real battle was just beginning. At 10 a.m., my father called from an unknown number. His voice, rough and tired. Tara, we need to talk. We have nothing to talk about. Please, just 5 minutes. That's all I'm asking. He sounded defeated. 5 minutes, I said. I never meant for things to get this bad. Saturday night was a mistake. The lunch yesterday was a mistake. I was scared and angry and I lashed out. You've been lashing out at me for 29 years. No. And I'm sorry. But this article, this public humiliation, this goes too far. You're destroying more than just me. You're destroying the whole family. The family destroyed itself when everyone chose to laugh at me instead of standing up for me. Tara, I'm begging you. Call the reporter. Tell him you were mistaken. My lawyers can work with theirs, and we can make this go away. No, why not? What do you gain from this? You've already made your point. You've won. Now let it go. I haven't won anything yet. You're still free. You still have your business. You haven't faced any real consequences. The article is consequence enough. My partners are abandoning me. My clients are demanding their money back. The bank is calling in my loans. I'm finished, Tara. You've destroyed me. Isn't that enough? Not even close. Silence. Then, in a voice colder than I'd ever heard from him, then you've made your choice. Don't expect mercy from me. He hung up. I sat there. He had gone from begging to threatening in 5 minutes. He was desperate, and I was done being scared of him. The afternoon brought more chaos. News vans outside my apartment, reporters knocking. Patricia called at 3 p.m. You're reinstated, effective immediately. The partners reviewed your evidence and agreed that you acted appropriately. We're even considering taking on some of your father's victims as clients. Thank you, Patricia. Don't thank me. You did this yourself. I spent the rest of Friday watching the story unfold. More victims came forward. Each new revelation made the case against my father stronger. By Saturday morning, the State Attorney General's office announced an official investigation. By Friday, exactly 1 week after the article published, my father was arrested. I was at work when I got the news. Timothy texted a link to a video, my father in handcuffs, being led out of his office by federal agents. Reporters swarmed him. My father looked directly at one camera, his face twisted with rage and humiliation. I felt nothing. No satisfaction, no guilt, no triumph, just a cold, empty certainty that justice was finally being served. My phone exploded with messages. Kevin, Paige, my mother, various relatives, all screaming accusations. Then a message from my grandmother. He made his choices. You made yours. I'm proud of you for standing up for what's right. That night, I went home and finally allowed myself to feel it all. The anger, the hurt, the years of being overlooked, the humiliation of that dinner, the fear, the stress. I cried for an hour, Winston curled up beside me. When I was done, I felt lighter, cleaner, free. The trial began 3 months later. 18 counts of fraud, 12 of embezzlement, 7 of tax evasion. His business had collapsed. His assets frozen. I attended every day, sitting in the back. My father never looked at me. My mother, Kevin, and Paige sat opposite, masks of anger and grief. The prosecution called me as a witness on day 4. I explained everything, the documents, the patterns, the investigation. My father's lawyer tried to discredit me, paint me as vengeful. I wanted justice, I stated, but you admit you were motivated by anger. I was motivated by the truth. My anger was justified, but it didn't change the facts. The fraud happened whether I was angry about it or not. When I stepped down, I felt my father's eyes on me. I looked directly at him. He looked old, suddenly diminished. All his power and confidence gone. The trial lasted 6 weeks. The jury deliberated for 2 days. Guilty on all counts. Sentencing was 3 weeks later. The courtroom was packed. Victim after victim described how my father's crimes had impacted their lives. When it was my turn to speak, I walked to the front. Your Honor, I'm not here as a victim, though in many ways I am one. I'm here as someone who once looked up to the man sitting at that table. Someone who wanted nothing more than his approval and love. 4 years I tried to earn it. It never worked. And when I finally stood up for myself, he tried to destroy me. I looked at my father. He was staring at the table, refusing to meet my eyes. But he didn't destroy me. Instead, I found my own strength. I learned that real family isn't about blood or obligation. It's about respect, support, and love. The people who matter most aren't the ones who share your last name. They're the ones who stand beside you when everything falls apart. The judge sentenced him to 15 years in federal prison, plus restitution. My father's shoulders sagged. My mother sobbed. Kevin and Paige looked stunned. I felt nothing but relief. In the months that followed, my family's downfall continued. My mother filed for divorce. Kevin lost his job. Paige's boutique finally collapsed. My father began serving his sentence. I received 1 letter from him asking for forgiveness. I never responded. Kevin and Paige tried to reconnect, claiming they understood now. I politely declined. Some bridges, once burned, should stay that way. Only my grandmother remained a constant. You did what needed to be done, she told me. The rest of them will have to learn to live with the consequences of their own choices. A year later, I sat in my new apartment, a bigger place I could finally afford. Winston purred beside me. Timothy texted, "Anniversary dinner next week." 1 year since the article that changed everything. I smiled. 1 year. It felt like a lifetime and a moment all at once. I had lost a family, but gained something more valuable. Self-respect, independence, and the knowledge that I could survive anything. Standing up for what was right had cost me more than I could have imagined that night at dinner. But it had also given me something priceless, the freedom to build a life on my own terms, surrounded by people who actually valued me. My father had taught me to be ruthless. He just never expected me to use those lessons against him. And that was his biggest mistake. What would you have done if you were in my shoes? Would you have walked away from the family dinner and taken a different path, or fought fire with fire like I did? Let me know in the comments below. I'm genuinely curious to hear your thoughts.